Hi there, I'm Jerry Deniston. I'm going to show you how to fill out this simple marketing planning worksheet. The first step is to actually use this future date. I'm going to just simply draw a text box and do it that way. And here is where you'll put 12/31/2024. I said 2023, 2024. You can write this. I'm just doing it online to show you because it's just easier. And then here, that'll be, so the date is 6 months from now. Whenever you start this, it's 6 months from now, but this is designed for you to work on to complete a 6-month plan leading up to the holiday, the 2024 fall holiday season. So that's why we're using December 31 as the end date here. The next thing that you want to do is come up with an idea of what your desired outcomes are. So when I talk about desired outcomes here, we're talking about what does that look like after you've implemented all your marketing. What is the higher overarching goal that you have here? This is not a specific financial goal. It's not your customer goal. It's not your social media goals. This is, something like to be the go-to business for whatever industry you're in. Or if you're let's just say a coffee house, right? You're a coffee house in your local area, to be recognized as the premier coffee shop in our local market. That might be what all this marketing is supposed to drive, right? This is to be recognized as that premier coffee shop in the local marketplace. So if that's what the goal is, then we're going to go to step 2. And now is where you're going to put in the specific financial goals. So here's where you're going to put in your sales. And so I don't, whatever your sales are, you could do it as a percentage. Maybe it's a 20% increase in sales. Maybe in terms of marketing goals, maybe you're trying to also build your list. And so what you're looking for is an additional 200 leads. And out of those 200 leads, at least 100 conversions. That could be part of what you're looking for. In terms of your LinkedIn connections, maybe you're looking to increase your LinkedIn connections by another 10%. Your website traffic, be great if you got maybe 20% increase in website traffic. Perhaps you need to increase your Facebook followers. So if you could increase those by another 20%. So you see how this is going, right? And then your Twitter X followers. If you're using Twitter, you'd fill that out. If you're using Instagram and you need to increase that, maybe that's another 20%. If you're on YouTube and you want to increase your subscribers there, maybe that's another 10%. TikTok, if you're using TikTok, that might be something that you also want to have a marketing goal for. So fill that out. Then your customer goals, increased in the number of customers. So we're saying we're a coffee shop. Maybe, if you've got 100 customers a day, 50 customers coming into your coffee shop on a daily basis, maybe you want that to be, let's say you want 65 daily. I have no idea, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of what you put in here. Testimonials, it's always good to get testimonials. If you get video testimonials, maybe you can increase that number by 10%. And customer referrals, maybe you can increase that number also by 10%. So these are giving you your specific goals, measures that you want to track against. This is what the whole marketing campaign is striving to accomplish. Staff, if you're a coffee shop, you probably have 1 or 2 or 3 employees. So maybe if you've had some turnover, you've got some disgruntled employees, perhaps satisfaction is an important thing. So you want to get to maybe a 90% satisfaction rating. And then if you're doing anything to give back to the local community, or if you haven't yet, but that's something that you want to do, it's a really good marketing strategy. Be engaged in the community, support a local nonprofit. So maybe that's going to be support one local charity, however you want to do that. So that's part of the giving back. Then you go on to step 3. I'm going to tell you, right now for the 6-month campaign, for this marketing strategy, you can just kind of skip over this, but it is an important thing to look at external threats or opportunities. We're in an election year. With elections, whatever the outcome of the election, depending on the industry you're in, it could affect your marketing strategy, but if you're a coffee shop, it may not, right? But if you're in insurance or, healthcare or some other industry that really is affected by changes in political environment, then that could be an issue. The society population shifts. If you're in a community where the population is growing, then there's opportunities there for both competitors and for you. If it's a declining market, people are moving away for whatever reason, then that's a threat. So that's something that we can address. In fact, I think I'll just do a separate video on that section alone, because it is pretty comprehensive, and it's a great exercise to go through, not just by yourself, but with your team if you have staff. So let's skip that for now and go on to the current steps. So I'm just going to back up here a little bit. What we focused on here is the future, okay? We started with the future date, December 31. We said by December 31, we want to be recognized as the premier coffee shop in our local market. We said also by December 31, these are our specific financial goals, marketing goals, customer goals, staff satisfaction goals, and society community goals, right? This is all future based. This is future what we want to accomplish by December 31. We're skipping step 3, and now we get to step 4, and this is the current day. Now we're looking at where are we today, right? This is what are our strengths and weaknesses, and what are the opportunities and threats. Well, the strengths are going to be, how strong are you in your marketing efforts? Do you have a budget? Are you on social media? Do you have sufficient staff to meet the demand? Those are what you want to list as strengths, and they're important. If you're a coffee shop, we're going to stay with that theme. You better have enough employees. Employee turnover is an issue in a lot of small businesses. You need to have a sufficient number of employees to meet the customers who are coming in the door and fulfill their orders. So all the marketing that you do is going to drive more traffic. If you can't serve the customers, you've got an issue. That becomes an internal weakness, not a strength, unless you have a good number of employees. But in terms of strengths and weaknesses, what we want to look at is also, how adept are you at doing all of this marketing? Do you have the knowledge? Do you have are you on social media? So we're looking at social media. We're looking at blog writing. We're looking at other content creation, newsletter, emails. If those are not strengths, maybe you're on Instagram. So you're strong on Instagram. But not so great on YouTube and TikTok. Maybe blog writing is not a strength, it's a weakness. You don't have anyone to write your blogs. Maybe your newsletter is okay, but you really don't, or you don't have a newsletter, and you just send out emails periodically to your list. What about list, online email list strength? Maybe that's something that's weak because you need to grow that list, right? So that becomes a weakness. This becomes something that we can address. On the opportunities and threats, these are external. And since we skipped this section, step 3, you wouldn't really have opportunities and threats unless you know that you've got some key competitors, right? Who've moved in or are planning to move in. So you could have an issue there. Are you on Facebook? Do you have a Facebook page for the business that has a lot of followers? Do you need to grow your followers? Maybe that's an issue. So just list those in here: strengths, weaknesses, any opportunities or threats that you may have. You could list them here as well. So then step 5, when you look back at the goals here and your strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats, then you want to, obviously, we want to take a look at what are the tasks that we have to complete in the next 3 months. Well, we need to launch a multi-pronged marketing campaign. You may need to hire 1 to 2 people. You may need to find someone to create content, and that would be for social, blog, newsletter. You may want to hold an event. Maybe part of what you want to do is maybe hold monthly events at the coffee house to generate more traffic, right? Live music events. So those are things, and maybe that would be, these are things to do in the next 3 months. Then you'll list out tasks that have to be completed in the next 6 months. And maybe that's something down the road. Are you expanding the menu? Expanding the menu to include afternoon and evening meals instead of just being open for early morning coffee runs, breakfast, and lunch. Maybe you want late afternoon and evening meals. Maybe you need to do that. And if you expand the menu, do you need to hire an additional crew? Create a launch event for a new menu, right? Those might be things that you do in the next 6 months. And in the next 12 months, are you adding another location? Add a second location. Find a realtor. Find a realtor. So those might be things if you're expanding, right? That just gives you an idea how to fill this template out. This gives you the basics. You still have to do the detail, actual detail work of creating the content, but this gives you the basics of this plan to work on, that you then transfer some of this information over to that marketing overview template and begin to put on the calendar when the social posts are going to happen, when the blog posts are going to happen, etc. So this works together with the marketing overview template in chapter 1 and the strategies and actions worksheet, which has a lot more detail to it than this simple marketing planning worksheet. All 3 of those work together to help you create your marketing plan for the next 6 months.